Everybody, welcome back to the Insiders Lounge. Today we have another special episode and another special guest. Iker, thank you for joining me and feel free to introduce yourself.
Chad, thank you so much for the invitation. A pleasure to be here. A pleasure to speak for a couple of minutes and speak about the things that we're passionate about. So, well, I'm 25 years old, Mexican, born and raised, proud Mexican, and just sports enthusiast, passionate about soccer especially, or football, however you want to call it. And yeah, well, my personal background, I have a bachelor in finance and business, but mixing soccer and finance and sports, it's always been something that has been keeping up in my mind. So yeah, that's kind of a really general intro. I played soccer for most of my younger, if you want to call it like that, years. I started to play as a midfielder, but then when everything's like the issue or the academic issues start to become more frequent, I went back to defense just to be more strength. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm right now. I ran a marathon. If it's like kind of a fun fact about me, I ran a marathon almost 2 years ago, the Chicago one. So that was like my introduction to the running industry as well, that right now it's booming. And yeah, right now I work in a company that is specialized in managing portfolios and relationship with banks, and we have some clients that have their own wealth invested with us. So yeah, that's what I am. I think it's a really good mixture between the sports side and the finance side. And yeah, that's most about me.
No, that's perfect. A great overview to start off. It's funny you bring up the marathon because this year I'm planning to run one. And so it's a good encouragement to go out there and do it. One of
the best experience you can do in your life. It's going to be memorable. It's pain, but it's worth every single training and minute and whatever. It's worth it. So yeah.
I love it. You've sold me. You've sold me on it. I'm in now.
Keep up with it. The training is hard though. Like, yeah, that's the most difficult part. Once you're in the race and once you're running the marathon, it's a party. It's a party.
I love it. Let's get into the topic. We're busy chit chatting here, and everyone's already probably clicking off. But we decided we spoke last night on what we were going to discuss today, and I think the Mexican Football Federation, the Mexican just football landscape as a whole right now. I know we're going to be flip-flopping between saying football and soccer the whole time, but it's at a really interesting standpoint. Obviously, there's some big headlines at the moment, and I think before we get into anything too deep, if you can just give everyone, if there's a listener from the European side of things, from Asia, from Australia, someone that maybe has no idea what the Mexican Football Federation is about, what the league system is like, just a general overview so people can kind of understand what is going on as a whole, and kind of a little bit of history as well, I think is key. And then we can kind of get into some of the key topics that are happening today.
Okay, so just to get into topic, I think it's worth to mention that here in Mexico, football, soccer, it's kind of a cultural, if you want to call it, religious part of all of us. Right now, it's not that easy, but 30, 20, 40 years ago, many children just went out to the street and play football with a bottle, with a stone, and they just put their shoes as a goalie. So right now, that's what the children grew up with that. But and that's why it's on our veins. But right now, it's a really big mess because of how big the Mexican soccer has, or not has, but it is right now. It's really big, really powerful. The money that it's involved in the industry is enormous. So right now it's a really big mess. But the thing is that it's a social part of us, and that's why it's really popular here in Mexico. And getting into the soccer, Mexican soccer itself, we have 18 professional teams playing in the first division, we want to call it like that. And we have 2 lower tier divisions. the issue, and one of the biggest issues, and what is happening right now, is that there's no promotion. There's no promotion between these tiers. So right now, the 18 teams that you have and that you see every weekend are the ones that we've been seeing, they've been available in the league for the past, I think, 7-8 years. So I don't know how to say it, but the competitiveness side of the player is not really full developed there, because there's no promotion. So why would you be motivated to win or to try to do something? And that's one of the issues that we've been dealing with during the past years. Apart from those side, the Mexican league, the federation is the one that rules the Mexican soccer league and all of the tiers below, but also the federation, it's in charge of the national team. And as you know, in the US, and I'm sure the European people that are listening to us know, the Mexican national team, it's really big, and it's also controversial in many sides. The history and the players that we have throughout of history make a name from themselves and also to the national team. And the national team as well is really powerful. It generates a lot of money, because the fans, speaking about myself, we are every single day or every single game that they play cheering up every single World Cup. We are excited. We are dreaming about winning the World Cup. So it's a really big movement, the national team. And that's why there's so much money involved in the league and also in the national team. And the fact that we have so much money, or that we generate so much money, brings an issue, because with the boom that the soccer industry has been having with the investments and with the funds and whatever, the league needs to grow as well and to keep up with the pace, and the media rights are there, etc. But we don't have the, how we want to call it, the infrastructure as a league to do it, because of the social and political part that we have in Mexico. We can grow to more teams, but right now the political and social situation is not ideal to develop to more teams, because not every state is as safe as other states. So also there's no need, or people or companies or the same wealthy people are not interested in investing in a team, because the cartels are kind of involved with lower tier teams. There's many issues with the social security. So right now we have 18 teams, and we cannot grow, even though we have the money and the willing to grow, and that brings an issue, because there's practically no development in the Mexican league. So I think that is currently the situation we're having right now.
I learned so much even from doing research in terms of the questions and that sort of thing. Like, you think you know until you start really diving in, like the promotion relegation. I think that's interesting, because in the US as well, we're having that debate constantly of whether it should happen or not. Now with USL, it's happening. So I think in many ways, it's so similar to the US, and we'll get into this, but so different than the US. And I think that's what's fascinating. And when you look at the national teams, I think that's where part of that rivalry is from. Obviously, there's the political rivalry, there's the social rivalry, all these different things come into play.
Sure.
I think to start off with here, you mentioned promotion and relegation. I think something that hurts just as bad as relegation would be getting disqualified from a major international tournament. Can we dive into the Club León situation? What happened there? What is going on? And maybe give us a deep dive into multi-club ownership and why this occurred.
Sure. So first of all, I just want to start with saying that Club León earned the ticket to the World Cup by themselves. Sorry, they won the CONCACAF Champions Cup, I think 2022. So they have the ticket, and they earned their way to the World Cup. The issue is that after León won the CONCACAF Cup and earned their ticket to the cup, FIFA released the rules for the World Cup. And as we know, FIFA has been fighting multi-club ownership for the past maybe 5 to 10 years. And the reality here in Mexico is that multi-club ownership, it's kind of common. Out of the 18 teams that we have, 8 of them are part of this issue of multi-club ownership. So it's a reality even here in Mexico. I'm not saying that it's a good thing, but it's a reality right now. And speaking about León, when the rules or FIFA released the rules, they started to get in touch with FIFA to present documents and all the paperwork that stated that León, even though it's part of Grupo Pachuca, and even though it has a brother in the Mexican league, the operations, the administration, the legal teams, every single part of the organization, it's separated from its brother, it's independent from its brother. And it is a reality because every 6 months they play Pachuca and León against each other, and there's been no issue regarding that. There's no suspicious thing every 6 months, nothing at all. And that's why León started to making this paperwork. But then, at the same time that FIFA released the rules, Alajuelense, a Costa Rican team, tried to or started to make, if you want to call it a campaign, I don't want to call it that, but maybe a campaign just to raise their hand to maybe or try to get the way into the cup. And that kind of became like a movement, because obviously every single team wants to be part of this tournament. The prize pool,
I was just going to mention, should I mention the number? So
please.
We have over $1 billion now in the prize pool. Winner takes home $125 million.
Yeah.
So that would be, I think the Premier League is right around that mark as well. So you're basically winning the Premier League if you end up winning the Club World Cup.
And for a Latin American team, even though it's from Costa Rica or from Mexico, that's more money that they've seen in the past many years
since their existence. I think.
And by having, I'm not saying they're going to win the tournament, but by having the opportunity to participate in the tournament, the revenues and their exposure to the whole world is going to be gigantic. So of course every single club wants to be part of it. So that's when Alajuelense started to kind of make a campaign. They tried to reach FIFA via the TAS, I don't know what's the name in English, but the arbitrage kind of organism that kind of dictates dictates FIFA sentences, and you can appeal it. I don't know what's the name in English, but try to reach that organism. And there's a demand, I don't know if that's the name, but it's a situation that this organization it's resolving regarding Alajuelense. And then the last week that FIFA released a statement that said that León was not going to be able to participate in the World Cup, Clubs World Cup. This club León went to the same organization, and the problem is that the TIS, I'm going to call it that just to simplify it. The TIS said that in the resolution of this case is going to be till mid-April, last weeks of April. So it's going to be an issue because every single club needs to manage its own operations. The fact that you can bring new players, up to 6 new players, it's a whole problem of logistics to go to the World Cup. And the fact that right now the situation of one club, it's uncertain, and the fact that right now Club León is not going to be able to participate, and there is no backup team or replacing team, it's a big issue for FIFA, I think, because right now you're floating around with a situation about a team that it's not resolved, and a situation about a ticket that's not resolved, but then you have the issue that León won their way into up in the pitch. It's a really big issue. But speaking into multi-club ownership, it's a reality that here in Mexico it's a big problem. There's nothing suspicious about it. There's not being a situation that lead to a possible conflict of interest, but it's understandable that FIFA is fighting against this situation or this teams.
Yeah, I think if I add some context in there, for most people that know about multi-club ownership, you see Citigroup and some of these other big European ones.
Club León as well.
Where, yeah, Eagle Group, you have quite a few, but many of them, or I would say, I think all of them don't have any teams that would ever compete against each other. So I know, like with the Citigroup, it was an issue if Girona had made the Champions League as well. I think they had some issues around that.
And yeah, sorry for the interruption, Chad. That's one of the things León is fighting for, because they're saying to FIFA, how about, or what's the problem with us if Manchester City and Girona play against each other in a competition? Well, not against each other, but both of them participate in the same competition. So León is saying, like, why is UEFA allowed to do that, and I'm not being and I'm being punished for that? Even though I showed you the documentation that we're independent, there is no mixed operations, etc. So that's one of the things that León will put into the table just to fight for the place.
That's interesting. I only thought of it now, that the fact that City and Girona played each other. So I think what's interesting, though, even more with the Mexican multi-club ownership groups is, like you say, 8 of the teams in the league are all part of the same. Do fans and like domestic, like people like around the domestic product of Mexico, do they like see that? Like, do they care? Like, I would be shocked. Like, for example, if you took multiple, I know MLS is a little bit of a different structure, but if you took multiple USL teams and you said, hey, we all had the same ownership group, like 3 or 4 would be like, this is a bit odd. Like, I don't think fans would appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, for the fan, there's he just don't care. Like, he just wants to go to stadium. He just wants to see the match. He just don't care. And there's been kind of an issues because sometimes the administration, well, a team or an owner that administrates both teams, sometimes it's just kind of the balance. It's not equally the balance for the time that this owner spends to what team or dedicates to one team. So sometimes the most passionate fans, they just blame or start to question the owners of, why are you giving more signings to this team, to a team, to that's kind of just the complaint, like the biggest complaint that you have. But in the daily basis, just the fan they don't care at all. So I think that's one of the problem. And just for the audience and the other guys from across the world that they're listening to us right now, we have 4 owners that own, each one owns 2 clubs. So just to give them some context, so we have León and Pachuca. Both teams are participating in the Club World Cup. Then we have Grupo Caliente that owns one team in Tijuana, that's from the border from the US. Another, it's in Querétaro. Then we have TV Azteca, that it's a TV media company. I would say the second biggest TV media company in Mexico, that owns Puebla and owns Mazatlan. Small teams, as I'm sure you know. And Orlegui, that's the big, I would say the biggest of this multi club owner. It's the owner of Santos and Atlas. And also, just a fun fact, if you want to call it that, Grupo Pachuca and Grupo Orlegui are also owners of other teams internationally. Real Oviedo as a team in, I think, the third or second tier in Spain.
Somewhere around there.
It's also owned by Orlegui. I think Real Sporting, it's by Grupo Pachuca, or I don't know the mix of that. But these owners are really powerful here in Latam. They have the big bucks and they have other teams. So it's not something new to them to own many teams, just like we can see in other parts of the world.
I think we were discussing Joel's episode that we did, and he mentioned one of the key visa changes where Mexican players or Mexican people in general were allowed to go to Spain for multiple periods of time, and this helped kind of transfers and things. So I think that's where that link starts to come to play. But
exactly,
if we swing things back to Club León, where do we go from here? What does this look like? Obviously, a huge downfall or huge pitfall for Club León. Have they sent out a message or anything? Have they spoken to the fans? I'm curious if they've had any communication.
Yeah, they released a statement, and it's great that you mentioned the fans, because the fans are the ones that are paying the price of this situation regarding if the guilt is, or if León is the guilty part of this situation, or FIFA. Like, it doesn't matter. The fans are the ones that are paying the price. They release a statement saying saying to the fans that they're gonna fight until the last consequence to go to the World Cup. But I mean, that's insignificant because also it's really important how the Mexican the Mexican league is what's the picture that the whole team is having with the Mexican league. I'm sure many people that are listening to us are wondering how did the federation allowed or is allowing many owners to own many clubs. Like, how is that even possible? Why the federation has not done anything, or why is this a reality in the Mexican football? So I think that's also one of the worst part of the situation. The picture that the whole world is looking about us is just shameful as well. Yeah, as simple as that, shameful.
I think it is. It's just it just doesn't look good no matter how you look at it. And I think the timing as well is horrific. Like even from FIFA's side of things, like this is coming down to the wire now. I think we're less than 70 days away from the Club World Cup. Now we haven't even announced a replacement team, all the branding and commercial side of things that now all has to be changed.
Exactly.
I think Club León is James Rodriguez there at the moment, or am I mistaken?
He's the one, and that's another issue.
And did he not sign there? Is this not a reason he probably signed there?
Yeah. Imagine James Rodriguez when he saw the news that Club León was not going to be able to participate. They bring me here just to play, that was one of the incentives. Like, of course, it's not James' fault, but that's like how León is standing or how León is dealing with that situation with James. It's kind of difficult and just a little story. I was listening to the radio this morning, and one of the manufacturer of Club León's T-shirt said in the radio that it's also an issue for them because they already produced the special, and they were going to release a special T-shirt or special T-shirt for the World Cup, and they said that they have the production already made, so they are also paying the price for this because you can imagine how many dollars they spend with this production, and they had a whole marketing campaign planned for the World Cup. So what is going on with this situation, and why? Also, one thing that I'm wondering is why is FIFA and not resolving or not giving any clues about what with the solution or what will happen? Because I think, as well as the Mexican Soccer League is in a bad situation, I think the message that FIFA is saying to the world, I don't think that's kind of the best.
And I'm curious to see what happens next. I know some MLS analysts have said, "Oh, we hope another MLS team comes into play." Even from the commercial side, I think FIFA and DAZN would hope for a Mexican club to be there because of the fan support that comes with it. Or an MLS team, but if a Dominican side or one of these other sides comes in, I think it'll be a little bit tough too.
And that's one of the things that Alajuelense, the Costa Rican team, is fighting for, because according to the FIFA rules, the next one into the FIFA ranking, club ranking of CONCACAF, is the one that earns the spot, like the replacement. But the thing is that Alajuelense is number 15 of the ranking. But all the teams above Alajuelense are from the MLS or the Liga MX. So also the FIFA rules said that they cannot be more than two teams from the same league, and the MLS has two, Liga MX has two. So Alajuelense, that is number 15, raise their hand and say, guys, don't worry, we're the ones that are going to replace León. And that's the issue, because I'm sure FIFA is not really certain that Alajuelense is going to be the best team to be in the first edition of the Club World Cup.
And the other thing I was going to mention is that these teams have competed before in many of the CONCACAF, the Champions Cup, the Champions League that was previous, where you've had multiple teams from the same group play against each other, play against other MLS teams, and so on. Is there do you know the link between Costa Rica and Mexico? Like, is there some tension there, or between the club? Like, what where did that start from? I'm curious, like to just come out and like say that right. It's a bit odd. Like I feel like it is a little bit different. I think
it's part of the national teams. As you know, CONCACAF, it's when national teams play, it's just a rivalry between each country. And Mexico historically has been the father, or if you want to call it, or the best out of CONCACAF. Historically, because not in the past years. So there's an issue because, of course, the Costa Rican people or the Costa Rican teams are saying that, or have an issue with Mexico because historically we have beat them in Copa Oro, Gold Cup during the qualifiers to the World Cup as well. So I think that's kind of a detonator over there, but I'm sure the commercial side is the one that is keeping up Alajuelense into the fight.
We'll transition nicely here into the federation, into the league, and more of the business side of things. I wanted to say some of the key statistics that you wrote down here. So Mexican soccer reportedly generates around $5 billion annually. Yet in December 2024, Commissioner Juan Carlos Rodriguez resigned following club owners' rejection of a proposed $1.25 billion investment from Apollo Global Management. While I was researching this as well, I noticed that individual teams also negotiate
their media rights.
Their media rights. That is fascinating to me because I don't think there's any other league or federation that does that. So if we can get some insights on that situation, and maybe this leads to why there are other issues within the federation, the league itself.
This whole thing that you said just states the reality that we have not, the Mexican football has not developed or has not been able to keep up with the pace of other leagues and other sports. The fact that each team fights for its own media rights, the fact that we have no promotion and relegation, that I think speaks for itself about how we are not or we do not offer the quality of a structure that other sports or other leagues across the world have. And that's also really kind of interesting as well, because the issue is that if a team fights for its own media rights, the smaller teams, the revenue of these small teams is not going to be comparable to the bigger teams. And that's why Apollo came into the scene and said, okay, I want to participate. I want to buy. First of all, you guys need to unify your media rights. So the commissioner was fighting for this with the owners, with the presidents, blah, blah, blah. And then Apollo said, okay, once you're unified, I'm willing to invest more than $1 billion. So the smaller teams were really happy. Like, guys, come on, we're gonna receive so much money, much more than we can cover from ourselves. So it's a really big thing but the bigger teams are stating, guys, this is not a really good business for us because we can't live from ourselves. Like, we generate the money from ourselves. We have the fans, we have the engagement, we have the sponsors, we have many, many things. So I think that this is the reality, and this is the best things for the smaller teams, but the bigger teams are not agreeing with this. So that's why the differences between these teams and the commissioner was one of the main reasons that one of the reasons of the resignation of Juan Carlos Rodriguez.
So you mentioned kind of the negative sides. Obviously, Apollo coming in, I would say overall would be positive to the league structure and the media rights deals and so on. Do you see, maybe this is me just being like an optimistic Canadian over here, but do you see a potential in the future for this to change? Like, would clubs, because you say, so there's 18 clubs in the league. Is there then potential to maybe build on that, have the second and third division as a part of it, and then you would have a majority who would be interested in outside investment, for example?
Okay, so first of all, the plan that the federation had 5 years ago, approximately, is that they want to expand the team to 20 teams. So of course, on the commercial side, it's really impressive because you have 2 more matches each week. So you know that's the drill. But on the other side, and kind of relating this topic to the León situation, the Mexican Federation needs to make many changes, and I'm hoping that the situation with León would accelerate the teams with the issue with the multi-club ownership, but they also need to make the revenue and the revenue of the teams more equal, because right now we have the four biggest teams in Mexico that generate more money, and then we have the rich teams, the ones from Monterrey, Tigres, Rayados, the ones that are famous for, that they are really, really powerful. Sergio Ramos just signed with Rayados, André Pierre Guignac with Tigres. They are the ones that are spending the big bucks. And then we have the four biggest teams, the two rich northern part of the country teams, and then we have the mid to low tier teams. So every 6 months, with the structure of playoffs that we have here in Mexico, the competition is between 6 teams. So eventually you need to put the teams in the same level, or try to reach them to the same level, in order to have the competitiveness side kind of covered. And that's why I think there's need to be structural changes in the league and in the federation as well, in order to have more results. Because also the thing is that right now, the structure that we've been having in the federation, in the league, for the past 15 to 20 years has not translated into results into the Mexican national team. And of course, the Mexican national team is the one that needs to unify the league, because you can have fans from the 18 teams, but all fans are going to cheer the Mexican team. So if you don't have any results in the national team, there's not going to be any changes in each team, because each one is going to fight for their own side or for their own team. So that's why I think there needs to be structural changes. We spoke, or you guys spoke with Joel, and you spoke about the structural changes that the federation announced. But it's been more than a year, and
I was going to say that
nothing has changed, Chad. Like nothing has changed. 5 years ago, they say that promotion relegation will be available again for 2024. There's still no relegation. They said that a new team was going to be added, I think 2023 or whatever. Like, the thing is that we are standing at the same point from 5 years ago, and there's been no development, especially in the last 5 years. In the last World Cup, they said that it was enough. In Qatar, when Mexican team was eliminated in group phase, said no. Right now is the time to make changes. We promise this. We promise
I remember
that.
This.
And it's almost a new World Cup, and we're standing into the same. So the federation is kind of like politics. That the speech is there, the intentions are there, but there is no action.
And I think the US helps in a lot of ways, because they lose like the Nations League finals, so then Mexico looks good again. But really, I don't think anyone in that tournament played at the level that they wanted to. Even Canada, it was a mess. So I think it kind of blurs over what is actually happening.
But I think that's a situation that, even though the MLS has developed way more than other leagues, that's a situation that CONCACAF is having. There's a disparity between the leagues, the countries, and there's no kind of union between the leagues. And you have the MLS that is great at marketing, at the commercial side, but the competitiveness side is not really there. You have Canada that has not developed a really good soccer league. You have the central part of America that the level is not there. You have the Mexican side that the level is there, but the commercial and the financial, the structure, it's not there. So there's good parts, there's bad parts, there's neutral parts, and that's a situation, I think, from CONCACAF. And that's why I think, and I'm kind of getting ahead of some topics, but I think that's why the MLS and the Liga MX are kind of going into the same side, of have some common ideas, because I think they both complement each other really, really good.
We'll get into that right after this, but I think Liga MX is really this beast, this wild beast that if someone can tame it, if someone can find a way to just control it and bring the product that we're asking for, promotion, relegation, bring unity, eliminate the multi-club ownership, or find a way to adapt that, I think it has the potential to do incredible things.
It's kind of hibernating, it's kind of sleeping right now, but it needs someone to wake up this beast. Of course, waking up this beast requires many things, but I think we can eventually go there.
And what inspires me, I see like what has happened with NIL, for example, in college sports in the US with private equity being involved. Mm-hmm. I think there's something there where the way the whole college system has like completely changed now with that, and the level feels so much higher. It feels like the players are being rewarded. There's so many different points now that I'm starting to get some comparisons. I can see some ways of private equity coming in. Private equity also going into the NFL with the 10% rule. There's something there where the efficiency of private equity and turning it into a business rather than a passion project. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think Mexico will be surprised.
But Chad, the fans, they're saying that these Wall Street guys are taking away their product, and it's understandable. And it's hard for me because I see it from the fan side and also from the professional finance side. So it's a clash between the passion and the fan culture, but it's also the clash between the investments, the big bucks, the revenue, the profits, etc. So here in Mexico, also the people that is not really into finance or this type of deals, they're saying these guys are taking the product from us. They're making the business from it, and they don't like that because, of course, the fans are the base of any sports. So the fans are complaining about it, but also you have the Wall Street guys that are saying this is one of the biggest investments from the next decade or so.
I want to get into, you mentioned the relationship between MLS and Liga MX. I think that's exciting. I think from Canada's side as well, you're seeing in the CPL where you have York United bought by Mexican owners. Yeah. You have the relationship with Forge FC, another club, and a lot of Mexican players coming in there. So I think the relationship is definitely closer than it's ever been between the three countries. Where do you see this relationship going? I know you kind of hinted at it a little bit there. Do you see something like a Super League, or does the CONMEBOL come to play where it includes North America as well, and that kind of all comes into play? I'm curious your thoughts, and we can kind of brainstorm here. This is an open thinking session here.
Perfect. So a couple of years ago, I saw the idea I think it was in Twitter or whatever, that the Super League is kind of the ideal dream of the federations. Right now, it's not even remote to be possible. It's far from being possible. But I think if every federation and every country like puts the mindset into it, I think it's going to be possible. But I don't see it into not even to the next 10 years. The discrepancies between the leagues as well is really different. The reality as well is really different. The fact that in the MLS, you guys want to bring the big European stars, it's also or something that kind of does not matches with the Mexican idea of competition. So I think if we don't kind of resolve these issues or trying to align these postures, the development is not going to be there. But of course, I think in the future there's going to be efforts to develop the Super League, and I think it's one of, or it would be really beneficial for all of the countries. Of course, it's going to be difficult, but the fact that we can make a strong league or a strong tournament, it also brings us into a table with CONCACAF and with FIFA, that we are more solid and way bigger than they may think. We can even compete with CONMEBOL, UEFA kind of not the same, but we can compete with CONMEBOL. And the thing is that with CONMEBOL, there's a rivalry and a competition because of the Libertadores thing, Copa America, whatever. And I think that if we unite each other, we can compete with them and be more powerful and try to bring more development into our own leagues or clubs as well.
Yeah, I think the first integrations of Leagues Cup has been okay. I think the idea is there where we can start to integrate this. Obviously, a huge majority of the American population watches Liga MX over MLS. Like, doesn't even watch MLS, but rather watches Liga MX. So it's there. The product is there. You can start to bring the players in. I think we saw the last Copa America in the US. Again, the idea is there. I think there was a little bit of a disaster in terms of the Miami game with Colombia and all of that mess. But I think as we start to draw closer and closer, I think the opportunities are there. And then I think you see the US now having a second first division, which would compete with the MLS. That will bring more teams into the competition. Canada's improving the CPL and our more domestic products. So I think as that all starts to tie in, I think naturally it'll become more exciting. I think combining it with Libertadores is interesting. Like, I think there's ways to play around with that as well. Would be exciting. I think the biggest issue is just the size of like the actual land mass. Like, the US is already huge and players complain all the time about travel and everything. I couldn't imagine including Mexico and so on.
And imagine going to Brazil, Argentina, or other countries, like 10 hours just to go play a match. Like, and you spoke with Joel about it and about the physical part of, or the demanding physical part of the calendar right now. That's going to be an issue. That's something. Sorry for the interruption. That players and especially FIFA needs to take into account when making a calendar, because the demand, the physical demand that a player has, it's gigantic.
Yeah, the one way I see it, I don't even know if I mentioned it in that episode. The one way I see it is there is a lot of physical demand on players now. I think if teams start to translate more, we kind of briefly spoke about it, into like an NBA style where you have load management and some players play other games, then you're starting to include more players, but I think then the product decreases. So it's kind of this constant, how do you do it? I think the only way something like that would work is if you have one host city and there's the last 10 teams, let's say. So you could have like a River Plate, a Boca, a Palmeiras, and then versus a San Diego FC, LA Galaxy, and a Club America, Chad, or something.
The fans want to see the team in their own stadium.
Then they have to travel.
It's a big issue, and that's I think the main consequence of the development that soccer or football or the industry has been having the past years, and the product it's becoming. Because a couple of years ago it was just some guys playing along in a pitch, but after maybe the World Cup in the US, everything started becoming a business, and the product was more appealing, and the audience were there, and the fan base was there. So the vision will change, and because of this, everyone wants to I don't know, like, try to squish the most out of this product.
One of the interesting trends that I've seen, and as I was kind of like preparing my questions and everything, I thought, this would be interesting to discuss from more of an investment and development strategy, more of the commercial side of things. We're seeing a lot of, I would say, very well-known young American players that have roots in Mexico, moving that way in a time of their career where you would say, hey, a Brandon Vasquez or a Jonathan Gomez or a Cade Cowell could move to Europe, and then all of a sudden you're seeing things change, and then they go to Liga MX. So can we talk about that growing trend? Why is it happening? And maybe from more of a commercial standpoint, I think is interesting, but also the recruitment side of things, I think, is fascinating.
It's fascinating because it has many point of views. You can see it from the sports side, but also you can see it on the political side, the cultural side, the social side. So I think it's really interesting to talk about this, because I think the mixture between Mexican Americans, it's beneficial for the leagues, the national teams, and the fan base, because the product demands more audience, but also more players as well. So if we, like you guys or the US especially has invested a lot in the development of the players. So right now here in Mexico, we don't have the infrastructure and the investment to develop or in the youth area. So like the reality is that the Mexican league and the Mexican national team benefits from the development that in the US it's been having, and you have young talents in the MLS or in the national team lower divisions that are kind of questioning if they want to participate or be eligible to participate with Mexico or in the US. And the thing is that the US offers the big infrastructure, the big facilities, the development, but we offer like it's kind of the value, the culture, the passion. Because and who was, I think Landon Donovan posted a tweet that said that the talent is great. We have amazing talent, but without pride or motivation, worthless. So I think that's the different or the thing or the, like, how do you say, the advantage value that each country offers to these players. So you in the US have many advantages in terms of development, but we have the cultural spark. And right now we have players that are kind of questioning which side are they choosing. We have Kate Cowell. I don't know if you heard of Alejandro Sendejas, Obed Vargas, Richard Ledesma that currently plays for PSV.
PSV, right?
Yeah, Ricardo Pepi as well was eligible for Mexico. Brandon Vasquez as well. So they are talents and really big players that are eligible for both teams. And right now they don't. Right now they are, their mindset is right now decided, but there are going to be new talents and new players that are going to be put into this situation, and the negotiation that the federation or each country plays with this player, I think it's going to be key for the future, especially with the talents that are really special.
I have a question for you. It's a bit of a debate topic. So you have the US side of things where there's a lot of money, a lot of focus on building up the youth development, just really investing in making sure that our team becomes great. And then on the Mexican side, you have the pride, the loyalty, the football culture, the real roots, the blood of the game. Which one do you think beats the other one to that second half that they need? So the US needs that culture and that pride and everything, and Mexico needs the investment and the structure and everything. Which one do you think beats out the other? I'm curious who you think wins that race.
Chad, I don't know, because I think it depends on the moment. Because without talent or without, like, you can be a great player without the talent, but when you play for a national team, if you don't have the pride, the motivation, the root into or your vein is not pumping up that pride, I don't think you're going to get far, because some games are not won by talent or by many goals. They're won by pride and with effort and strength. And
you saw it in the US and what was it, Panama, where it was one goal, and I've never seen more pride in a celebration. Thierry Henry was surrounded by the entire team. Like, and I've never seen anything like it.
That's pride, and that's why Panama went to the final. But you can see it into many clubs as well. That's why Leicester won the Premier League almost 10 years ago. That's why Porto won the Champions League 20 years ago. That's why Morocco was in the semifinals of the World Cup. Sometimes the talent is not enough, and that's what I think Landon Donovan was appealing with that tweet. I think if you don't have that motivation and the willingness to play for your country, your team, or whatever, you will not go as far as you can go. Or because imagine if you have the talent and the passion, it blows out.
It's a perfect combination. That's what you need. Let's get into the Club World Cup then. We'll finish off with that topic. I'll break it down. We've got 80 games, I believe there is. Mexico's got 10, Canada's got 10, and the US has 60.
Yeah.
Right away when I saw that figure, I was a bit shocked because, okay, the US has the majority. That makes sense. They have the infrastructure and so on. But Mexico and Canada having the same, I was a bit shocked. Really, we only have Vancouver and Toronto as two hubs capable of hosting a World Cup match. Maybe Montreal if you throw it in there. And we have the same amount as Mexico, who is a country that I believe has hosted a World Cup on their own.
Yeah, twice.
So this will be the third time. So I'm a bit surprised by that. So maybe we start on that. But then I'm also curious, do you think Mexico is taking the correct steps now to make the most out of the World Cup? You're seeing Canada is really taking a push. I think the CPL was really started at a key time where now we've built it up to the point where we can really take this and use it as a ramp. You're seeing stadium renovations with BMO Field doubling in size. And then the US, I can name a million different reasons why they're taking advantage of this. I'm curious if you feel that Mexico is doing the same and that this really seems like, okay, this could be a stepping stone to the next phase of Mexican Federation.
Yes, but no. Let me deep dive. So yes, because the three cities or the three host cities of the World Cup have the infrastructure, they have the stadiums, the facilities, the infrastructure. Yeah, they have. But if we see it in the whole country, we don't have, because the airports are not big enough, because the social and political situation is not the best. So that's why it's a yes, but a no at the same time. Right now as well, the Estadio Azteca, the one that is hosting the inaugurational game, it's being remodeled. It's going to be great. The history of this stadium is fascinating as well. But outside of this stadium and the other two, Monterrey and Guadalajara, there's no memorable stuff or memorable cities and stadiums or stories to tell to the fans. And that's something that I think we're missing, and that's something that we're not proud about, because in the US there are many cities and there's a story to tell behind each city, and each city has a stadium that is capable of many things. And here in Mexico we don't have it, apart from this three stadiums. So I think we were able to make it better, but we didn't. And right now we're stuck into, like, we're standing into this situation, and the World Cup is in a year. There's no, like, I don't think we can make anything different, because there's no time.
I think it's the same in the US side in a lot of ways, especially with the team. It's like, look, we've set this up. This is the best we can do. We brought in Pochettino, which I don't think you could name a better manager to be in play. So now we just have to hope for the best. For Mexico, for the listeners, can you give us like a sales pitch on why Mexico should be maybe not everyone's first team to support, but if they want a local team to support in the tournament, why is Mexico that team? And I'm curious to hear your thoughts as well on the outlook. Obviously, again, mixed emotions in terms of how well that you think they'll do, but I would love to hear kind of your thoughts and opinions on the World Cup for Mexico.
Okay, that's going to be really interesting, because I think I'm going to separate this sales pitch in many things. First of all, the fan base. And I don't know if you know this, but the Mexican fan base that goes to each World Cup, like, it's maybe into the top 3 of the most numerous fan base. So the fan base, the Mexican fan base in each World Cup, it's amazing. And the mood, the party, the cultural or the Latin side that we have, and the mood that we put into each World Cup, it's amazing. And maybe for some people that's going to be appealing, and because of the environment and the party that we're going to have here in Mexico, they want to root for Mexico. But in the sports side, I mean, we don't have the best players right now. We have the best that are available, but years ago or other World Cups, we had a better team, or in terms of talent. Right now, the talent, apart from specific players, the talent is not kind of there. Like in the US, the talent is way better. But the fact that we're going to play every single match in the group phase at home, and the fact that we have a really passionate fan base, I think that's a really good combination. Because imagine a player at the Estadio Azteca, one of the biggest stadiums in the world, with a lot of history, playing the inaugurational game with all Mexican players chanting the hymn and whatever, and imagine the stadium. It's going to be vibrating. So I think that combination kind of gives us hope.
It reminds me of South Africa. So my parents and my family are from South Africa. And when that first goal went in by Shovel, it was like, against Mexico as well. It was like nothing I've ever felt and experienced. And everyone right away, we left that match and it was like, we might be able to win the whole World Cup. Never mind just these games. Like it just gave us that hope.
Well. And what a goal. Like everything was perfect. Yeah.
I can imagine that as well in Mexico. I think there's not many cultures that can compare to what that moment would mean for them.
And Estadio Azteca, with the remodelation, is going to be capable of hosting like 90,000 people. I'm not sure about the number, but imagine the people chanting and rooting. I think that's going to be great. But when the Mexican team starts to play abroad, imagine if it plays in the US, I think the vibe is going to be different, because we have a really strong base. The national team has a really strong base in the US because of the Mexican American culture, but the fan behaves and it's different. The passion is not really.
They've been Americanized, so they're not as they're not quite
they just
the
want
true
to
roots.
be part of a show. They want to be on the screens of the stadium. They want to grab a beer, like party in the stadium. And I don't think like that is going to be the best for the players, or they're going to feel the difference. But that's going to be the challenge, I think, when Mexico starts to play in other cities during the World Cup.
Estadio Azteca is also the one in the mountains, right? Like it has the altitude, or am I thinking of something else?
Mexico City. I don't know in feet, but it's 3,000 meters above from sea level, a little more above. So yeah, the altitude here in Mexico City, it's a challenge for
That's a
for
huge
many
home
players.
advantage.
And imagine if the match is played at midday or whatever, you have the sunlight. Right now, you can see the sunlight too. Yeah, imagine the sunlight and the altitude hitting the opponent, and we are used to that, but the opponent is not. So that would be some advantage that we will have.
We'll stick to the World Cup topic, but we're getting into some of the quick fire questions to wrap up the episode here. So I've got one that maybe people won't like you to answer, but you should answer it because I'm curious from my end. What is one American player that would benefit the Mexican national team the most, and vice versa? What is one Mexican player that would benefit the U.S. men's national team?
People are going to hate me, Chad. It's difficult because, as I was saying, we're missing talent, and I think Pulisic brings the talent, the sparks, the flairness that we are lacking. And I think I would choose Pulisic, because he also plays in a really, really good team. He's been having a wonderful season as well. He's young, kind of. And I think I would choose Pulisic, even though I don't know if in terms of attitude is the most suitable player to be in the team. But in the other part, I think maybe the keeper or a defense, I don't know, not exactly the player, but I think that the U.S. needs better keepers and better defense, especially the central defense. I think they need more. Here in Mexico we call it mañoso, but in the U.S. they need more guys that play kind of spooky or kind of intelligent. They know when to like a little punch to the striker. They're kind of sparky. I know the exact word in English, but
I can see where you're getting it.
And here in Mexico, we are kind of or the players are kind of like that. And I think the US players are lacking a little bit that. It's not that you're a bad or bad intention player, or you're trying to harm the striker, but I don't know, you have the touch or the cleverness just to get the striker out of the comfort zone, and that's why I think the US will be beneficial for the US will benefit from these players.
So I've got a few options from my side. One, I thought Pulisic at first because he's got obviously the Mexican connection already with his teammate at AC Milan. So maybe there's something there that he can start to. I could see him being on the wing, Santi in the middle, and that kind of connection starting to build. Yeah, and like you say, they're missing that like American flair of like the star, like of the. I think they need that a little bit, but I think he would be hated, so that would be a disaster. Or my other two options were Anthony Robinson as a left back. I think extremely underrated even in the American team.
And he also has
one of the best
chemistry with Raúl Jiménez. They play in the same team.
There you go. So I'm onto something there. I think I'm onto something. So I could see him coming in, and then as from my side, the most like Mexican player that I would say, obviously there is dual nationals on the team, but someone who I could just see playing on the Mexican national team. Actually, there's two. Tyler Adams as one, where he just has that different type of aggression, that just wants to get into a challenge. Yeah. So I could see him as a 6, and then we could even use is that Weston McKennie was my other option there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then is it Edson Alvarez on Mexico, who he plays like a 6.
Yeah.
I could see him being used in the US national team as that kind of the general, the driving force from the back that they really need. I think they, like you say, they don't have that like chutzpah almost is the word that I would use, where they just need a little bit more. But yeah, Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams in that Mexican team would be crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And Alvarez, that's a really good answer. I was not thinking about him, but yeah, definitely Edson Alvarez would be perfect for the US.
So now I'm gonna dive into your more of your day-to-day work, but your analysis side of your brain. So what is one club or league that you think is undervalued? I'll say extremely undervalued today from a business or investment standpoint. If someone came to you and say, hey, I have X amount of hundreds of millions or maybe $1 billion, what is the team or investment that you could see making the most sense? And I'll clarify to start with that we are not a business podcast, so do not take our investment advice.
Really difficult. But I would think that the development that the women football has it's going to be way bigger in the next couple of years. The competitiveness, the level of professionalism that these leagues are having, not only in America but also in Europe. In Europe, it was before in America, but we spoke it with the leagues in the US. Here in Mexico as well, the league, the women league, it's been amazing, the development that they had. They have more fans. The engagement is there. I think it's a really big product. It needs more viewership and also more confidence. But I think it's there, and I think maybe last year FC Barcelona was the first European football club that report some profit from their women.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I think less than $1 million. I don't know the exact number, but
somewhere around $1 million. Yeah,
somewhere around $1 million. It doesn't matter what's the profit. The
fact that great.
Right now a female soccer team can be profitable, that it's a great news. That are great news, and of course into the future, something that definitely is worth a look. And yeah, I would stick with every female league across the world.
No, I think that's exciting. I think we could do a whole other episode on women's football in Mexico. I think there's so much to that as well. You've got the US side of things. They're starting their own international tournaments between the two. So yeah, definitely an exciting time. I would agree.
What do you think, or who do you think?
I love the women's game. I'm really bold on the USL in the US as well. Just with the conversations that I've had, I think promotion relegation, you can't really get much lower than what it's at now. If they're bringing in promotion and relegation, investing in a team that would be at the lowest tier, I think there's so many interesting markets within the US. If you look at the UK, for example, you have 60 million people. Yeah. It is just packed with clubs. There's a club on every corner.
The Wrexham story, it's fascinating. Yeah.
There's so much to it. So I think the US has so much growth. And even if the the international product in terms of the national team isn't quite there, and maybe there's issues with the development and that sort of thing. I think investment wise, if you're just looking for a dollar to be made, I think there's a lot of opportunity in the lower leagues of the US.
And sometimes the most profitable investments are the ones that right now you have a little or some doubts that it's not fully established or fully known as a good investment. But I think your answer is also really good.
And it's hard to bet on the US once they make a decision as a culture almost to say, hey, we want to do this, or we want to be a part of this. They find it extremely hard to lose. So you find that anything they go into, you look at the Olympics, you'll see the most random sports, but the Americans are still up there and competing because that's all they care. They just want to win everything.
And they are also backed up by the other leagues, the NFL, NBA, MLB, that the growth that they had in the valuation of each team, it's been amazing. So why would the MLS or could not accomplish what the other sports have accomplished?
And you gave me the idea there. I think women's sports in general, if you look at basketball, I think it'll even go into other avenues that we've seen. Volleyball is interesting in the US. I think there's so many avenues that women's sports will begin to take over. So definitely. A lot of exciting times there. The last two here. What is the biggest life lesson you've learned, or something that if someone's asking you like an important life lesson that you've learned, I'd love to hear it.
Difficult.
It's a tough one.
Really tough one. But I think here in Mexico, or what I try to protect, if you wanna, or to teach to myself and my parents are more about it. It's that if you want to get something, go for it. Go put all your effort in it. Sometimes you will get it. Sometimes you don't. But it doesn't matter, because as soon as you try to reach it, you're winning right now. And if you try to put this effort into it, it's easier, or I don't want to say the probabilities, but life or religion or whatever, it's going to also help you to get into it. So I think that's one thing that it's inside of me, and one of the best advices. Like, if you want something, go for it. It doesn't matter the judgment. It doesn't matter the time, the effort, the money. Well, kind of not the money, but the effort. Mm-hmm. Let's put it in that way. The effort you're putting into it, it's worth it, no matter if you accomplish it or not.
I love it. And the last one here: if you could sit down with one person for a meal, past or present, who would it be and why?
Well, it's a difficult one, Chad. All of the questions
to end things off. Then you have a break.
I think I'm going to put it into like two people. One from the personal side and one from the like professional side. On the professional side, I think Warren Buffett. The guy's a genius. 90 years old and he's still hustling. The fact that he kind of changed the financial markets and the financial view of the companies, it's just amazing. And the fact that 90 years and he's still going, he's trying also to I don't know, it's just amazing. It's just amazing for me.
He's still trying to innovate, is what I would say there. Trying to innovate,
exactly. At 90 years old, everyone would be like, come on, you're 90 years old. Go enjoy your money, all the effort, all your career. Go enjoy that. But the guy, it's another mindset. It's just on a different level. And on the personal side, and kind of on the, like, from my passion and my hobbies, I think Johan Cruyff would be another interesting person. He changed the game, and also because I'm a Barcelona fan, but he changed the way soccer was played, and that would be amazing. So yeah, I would stick with Warren Buffett and Johan Cruyff.
I think it would be a cool table. The two of them and you. I think there would be a lot. What's the food of choice? Are we going Mexican here? Are we going something else?
Something's a little bit more soft, because if we put spicy things spicy things, I think the conversation would not go to the best side. I will go for something more simpler.
Yeah, I know Buffett for sure would have his Coca-Cola as always. And Cruyff, I'm not too sure. What I was going to say on Cruyff is I just finished reading, I think it's called Inside Barca. I don't have the book on me now, but it's by, I think Simon Cooper is his name. And it's a fascinating book where you can read, I think Johan Cruyff has his own book and there's a few others, but this gives a different, this gives a different perspective where it really tells, I would say there's about 2 or 3 chapters really focused on Cruyff in it, and it gives a fascinating insight into his day-to-day life. He wasn't necessarily the greatest father. It kind of gives a full deep dive into his life where a lot of people idolize him as, he's one of the greatest footballing legends ever. He changed the game. But this gives a little bit more insights in like the behind the scenes, how he lived his life.
Let me write it up because I'm sure I'm gonna take a look at it.
Yeah, and I'll recommend it. I'll send you a message after so that you have it as well. And then Buffett, I would say the also fantastic option. And the one thing I've learned from him is just longevity, that he's slowly compounded year after year after year, and now he's at 90. And I think to him, money might be looked at like from us or others as a treasure or as a reward. To him, it's just a way of currency to play his game. That's what he loves and that's what he enjoys doing. Yeah. So if he looked at money as a treasure and he wanted the earthly treasure, I guess you could say, then he probably would have quit a long time ago and gone and bought the Lamborghinis and gone on vacations. But to him, I don't think that's what matters.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Iker, thank you for the time. I really appreciate it. We've gone over an hour and 13 minutes now at this point. So, and I think we could keep going for another hour if we really wanted to.
Or a whole day.
But I really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. If you want to give any shout outs to some of the projects that you're working on, your socials, whatever like that, and we'll make sure to include them down below.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Chad. First of all, it's been a pleasure. Time went flying. So it's been amazing. Thank you so much for the opportunity, the confidence. And whenever you want to have a conversation in the future, count on me. It's amazing. I'm excited. You are amazing as well. And thank you so much for the opportunity. And for the people that are listening to us, I have a page, a company, or a social media page that's called Sports Capital Hub. It's basically what we spoke about for the last hour, but in Spanish. So for every guy that wants to reach or to know more about these topics that we've been discussing in Spanish and in a more kind of friendly way with graphics and with graphic side, please feel free to follow. My name is Iker Nacenta on any social media, LinkedIn, whatever. Please feel free to reach me. Happy to help in whatever I can. And Chad, thanks so much as well. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate it. And hopefully the next time we speak, it's not about a Mexican club getting disqualified or anything. That hopefully it's positive. Maybe a World Cup win or a strong World Cup run or something along those lines.
Or
a Super League. I would like that as well. Thank you again, Iker. We'll speak soon, okay?
Thank you. Perfect.